So today's transfer news is actually quite interesting. There's talk of Frank going to Tottenham to be the new manager, leaving Brentford. I think it's a tough one. There's a lot of people saying how it's a very risky move, him going from Brentford to Tottenham. And whilst it is, I think he honestly has taken Brentford as far as they can go. That club, due to the stadium size, the backing, etc., they have a ceiling, and I think they are at that ceiling. So I think the move to Tottenham is a smart one. I think that move for Frank and the possibility of it has paused the Mbeumo transfer to Manchester United, which is a bit frustrating because last week he was linked to Newcastle, and I actually think it would have been a good sign for Newcastle on the right wing. But him going to Manchester United, it confuses me, to be honest with you. I know the history of me growing up, Man United were one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I think commercially they still are. But a club like Manchester United, I don't see how they could attract players at the minute. So Mbeumo being linked now to Tottenham to follow Frank, I think makes a lot of sense. I think him, and then you've got up front, you've got Solanke and maybe someone else on the left. Son seems to be losing that magic he had. So you do have Johnson, you do have Kulusevski could move over to that side. They've got decent sides, Tottenham. I do think sometimes you look at how they played this season with some of the youngsters they've got as well, and some of the injuries they had. They just didn't play the correct way. And I think Frank, with a bit more football and intelligence, which is harsh to say to a manager who's just won the Europa League, but I think definitely his philosophy cost, and it really did cost Tottenham at times during this season. One thing that popped up from today is that Chelsea have signed a youngster from Strasbourg called Sarr. Not the first player called Sarr they've signed. Probably won't be the last. This is Chelsea. They do sign 1,000 players a day. I don't know much about him. 19 years old, signed till 2033. Probably going to go out on loan. Probably never going to play. We move on. I've seen reports that Christian Eriksen potentially could be close to joining Wrexham. I think that would be an absolute coup if they can bring Christian Eriksen to the racecourse ground and to the Championship, leaving Manchester United. I think Manchester United are a very interesting club to follow this year, this summer window. Almost as interesting as watching my club Newcastle sign nobody and be linked with everyone. But they need to rebuild. They need to bring in players that are going to suit what Ruben Amorim wants to do. Can they bring in players to suit it? I don't know. Because whilst we know what he wants to do, we don't know what he wants to do because they just looked all over the place this season. Now they are obviously linked with the striker from Sporting, Jokeres, I think it is. I think he scored something like 40 in 90 games for Coventry, and now he's got 97 in 110 or something for Sporting. So he's definitely a goal scorer. It, he was on the books of Brighton. It just makes you think, why didn't Brighton get the best out of him? Then some players are late developers. They get better as their careers go on. Can he come and do it? I don't know. But what shocks me is when you look at Manchester United, they're linked with Mbeumo. Okay, good Premier League player. Linked with Jokeres, failed Brighton player who has done well now later in his career, 27 or 28 now. It's not the Manchester United of old where they were going to the likes of Tottenham and taking Berbatov, who you could see was world class. Carrick, players like that, Rio Ferdinand, who was a powerhouse for Leeds, so they went, we'll have him. They almost taken a gamble on Jokeres, 100%. And Mbeumo, I think, is not a gamble, but now I can see him going to Tottenham. Champions League football, manager he knows. I can't see him going there anymore. So I guess the question is, what do we expect from Tottenham? Is Frank going there? And if he is a good move. What do we expect from Manchester United with them linked with some players? Are they rebuilding? How many are they going to sign this summer? Can they afford to sign many? Who is going to leave to free up the finance to sign these players? And I guess also I'll ask you, how many more players are Chelsea going to sign in this window before the Club World Cup starts? So let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe to this channel. We're going to try over the next few months to really keep updated on transfer news in the Premier League and in around England and Europe a little bit more as well. But mainly Premier League talk, especially with my club Newcastle being in there, and I'll see you in the next one.